You know who does have an embarrassment of riches is everyone's favorite Major League Baseball franchise, the Los
Can I
Angeles
can I just
Dodgers.
say I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny you ended up with this team. We'll just put it that way. You go ahead.
Yeah, so I notably, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? It was either last week or 2 weeks ago. I think it was around the Freddie Peralta trade where I talked about the Dodgers farm system as I've never been high on them. These guys never really seem to pan out all too often. They always get moved in different trades and go to different organizations and just fizzle out. I don't really care what the media says. The Dodgers, their farm has never been that great, nor will it ever be great. And while that might be the case, and I'll still stand by that claim, to suggest that they don't have some dogs in their top five or their top 30 in general would be a straight up lie. And all of their top five prospects have cracked MLB's 2026 preseason top 100. Their top four prospects are all outfielders. Three of them are basically the exact same player. We'll get into it right away with their number one prospect in the system, MLB's 13th overall and their third overall outfielder in Josue De Paula. The one guy who is not the exact same player as the other three outfielders on this list. He's a little different. And quite frankly, I need to see some better prospect grades on this guy. I need to see some updated grades. Because do you mean to tell me that he has a 40 grade run tool, but he steals almost 30 bags a season? That's a little misleading for me. He does have the size to be able to do that. Maybe he's just not that quick for his size. I don't know. But when I see 30 stolen bases a year, I think a 40 grade run tool is a little bit misleading. Fun fact, and there's going to be a couple fun facts here as part of this farm feature. He is the second cousin of former NBA basketball players Stephon Marbury and Sebastian Telfair. So he has some pro sports blood in his family. His 2025 numbers at High A Great Lakes this year with the Loons, 98 games there. He had a pretty solid year there. 263, 406, 421 was his slash line. That's good for an 827 OPS. He had 90 hits, 16 of them doubles, 12 of them homers, with 44 RBIs, and again, the 32 stolen bases. So he has 20 double, 20 homer potential written all over him. If you must know, he did play 4 games at AA Tulsa last year and went hitless, hence why we're only looking at his high A numbers for the sake of this farm feature. He's going to get his time in AA. He's still very young. He's 20, pushing 21 years old. Projected debut is 2027. There's going to be a common theme here. My projected debut is 2028 to 2029 because A, he's still very young and obviously needs more time, but B, with the contracts and the money LA is handing out like it's candy, they don't really need De Paula to be ready come 2027. So I think they're going to take their sweet, sweet time with a dude who projects to be, according to many scouts, that one of the next big stars in Major League Baseball if he continues to progress the way he has been. Number 2 is another outfielder. Their second of 4 in their top 5, Zyhir Hope, MLB's 27th overall prospect and 5th overall outfielder. Again, who's evaluating these guys? Because I genuinely think Hope is a much better prospect at this very moment than Josue De Paula. He fared far better than De Paula in his 6 games at AA Tulsa this year. He went 6 for 19. That's a 316 batting average. And he had 5 RBI to go along with it. But I think the reason people have De Paula over Hope is simply the physicals. De Paula has got a few inches of height on Zyhir Hope. Zyhir Hope is a better fielder. They're very similar batting wise and with the legs, but Hope is 5'10", right? This probably means with De Paula being taller and a little bit more suited to his body, that he's probably going to have longer strides, a larger wingspan, more strength, more power in the stick. But Zyhir Hope is still not to be taken for granted. He's still a very talented prospect. He had 121 games this year at High A Great Lakes, where he slashed 264, 377, 428. That's another above 800 OPS with 116 hits, 27 doubles, and 13 homers, which the 13 homers, a career high to this point in his minor league career. Also had 75 RBI and 26 stolen bases. Here's the problem. 139 strikeouts in 121 games. De Paula does not have that strikeout problem that Hope seems to have. Projected debut for him is also 2027. I'm going to go with the common theme here, 2028, 2029. But here's a take that I want you guys to at least consider really quick. One of Josue De Paula, Zyhir Hope, or either of the next two prospects will be moved at some point in the next 1 to 3 years. Are the Dodgers going to be shelling out a few of these guys? Discuss.
Yeah, I would say so, especially when you basically just broke it down perfectly there, right? Between De Paula and Hope, very similar skill sets across the board, actually, except one guy's just got a way bigger stature. So whoever the Dodgers think is going to translate more, they're probably going to go with the higher rated guy just because he's much bigger and much more powerful and kind of passes the eye test a little more. Could 100% see Hope and one of those fringe major league roster guys going somewhere else at the trade deadline. And then because it's the Dodgers and 2027 isn't here yet, they sign and trade him and grandfather the guy in. So yes, I would say Hope, and I would say that that's very likely. And I'm very much enjoying the theme of pushing these guys back a year or two. Because where on earth are you going to put him? Like, forget who's on first, who's literally anywhere. This team is loaded with talent. They're trying to go back to back to back. Hope is where my vote goes for this hypothetical trade in the next handful of months.
They're fetching water for all the $600 million.
Yep,
they
exactly.
call him up to spot start once every 7 days. I wonder if multiple guys are moved in the same trade. Like if they're like, hey, this guy's available from this team. You can get. You put a haul of prospects, go with their rivals, the Padres mentality, where we're just gonna bundle them together, just continue to go all in. Don't know if they're that reckless, but yeah, I'm gonna agree that at least one of these guys, if not maybe 2 out of the 3, will get moved.
Here comes our next outfielder at number 3, originally signed as an international signing as a catcher, but like many catchers, he was just too athletic to not try in the outfield with as young as he is. This is Eduardo Quintero. He's MLB's number 30 prospect, so he's right behind Zyhir Hope. He's also minor league baseball, number 6 outfield prospect. Very similar prospect profile to Zyhir Hope. Only Quintero's a righty-righty, while Hope's a lefty-lefty, so you have a little bit of differentiation there. 55 grades in hit, power, and field tools, 60 grade run and arm. This just screams starting center fielder. And I kind of like Quintero more long-term than I do Andy Pages. And I was pretty high on Andy Pages coming up in 2024 with the Dodgers. I'm going to split Quintero's stats up here because he was phenomenal across both single-A Rancho Cucamonga, which is now single-A Ontario for the Dodgers, for those keeping score at home, and his numbers at high A with Great Lakes. In his 81 games at Rancho Cucamonga, slashed .306, 426 on base, 533 slug as a center fielder, 959 OPS. So he had 18 doubles, 14 homers, 53 RBIs, 65 walks. He did strike out 88 times in 81 games, but that's a little bit on the lower side compared to guys like Zyhir Hope. He also had 35 stolen bases. Power, speed, threat is all you really need to know about Eduardo Quintero. In his 32 games at high A Great Lakes, 259, 384, 440 with an 824 OPS. So he's still OPSing above 800, well above the average for the standard high A outfielder. 30 hits, only 4 doubles this time, 5 homers, 16 RBI. But again, he also played in only 32 games down here. 23 walks, 35 Ks, 12 stolen bases. He had 47 steals across both levels of A ball last year to go along with 19 homers and 22 doubles. Projected debuts 2028. Say it with me, everyone. 2028, 2029. Same theme again. I'm sounding like a broken record, but where does he fit if LA keeps throwing money at everything that moves? Again, This is another guy I could see being a trade candidate. Number 4, another outfielder, the 4th of 4 outfielders in their top 5, MLB's 60th overall prospect, Mike Sirota. So picture this, guys. What if we took Eduardo Quintero and just had 2 of them? That's basically Mike Sirota, okay? He just happens to be an inch taller than Eduardo Quintero and have about 13 extra pounds of muscle on him. So this is another guy who's just going to be a stud center field potential, right? Another fun fact, his great uncle, Mike Sirota's great uncle, is Yankees legend, 6-time World Series champion, Cy Young Award winner, Whitey Ford. is his great uncle. He's another guy I'm going to split up some stats with because the only word I had to say, granted he played in just 59 games, but the one word I had to say about Mike Sirota is wow. His 24 games at single A, 354 average, 443 on base, 687 slug in 24 games. That's an 1130 OPS, 35 hits, 8 of them were doubles, 7 of them were homers. He also had 24 RBIs. In his 35 games at High A Great Lakes, a 316 average, 458 on base. He got on base more times, 556 slugs, so his OPS is still over 1,000. 37 hits, 8 doubles against 6 homers, 30 RBI, 33 walks at High A Great Lakes. He's got a phenomenal eye at the plate, and he's got great bat-to-ball skills. Projected debut is 2027, but yeah, same song and dance. 2028, 2029 is what I'm going to say about Mike Sirota. At least two of these guys got to get moved, right? If you are, so another question before I get into number 5 for both of you. If you are an opposing GM in Major League Baseball, which of those, let's go 2 through 4. Those are the 3 very comparable outfielders between Zyhir Hope, Eduardo Quintero, and Mike Sirota. Who would you be drooling over the most to receive in a trade with the Dodgers?
I think you pitched me pretty well on Sirota, right? The sample size gets larger and larger. The guy's hanging out above 300. He still has a decent amount of pop. The OPS been well above 1,000 too. Now, yes, that's a bit of a lower level. It's not as polished of a prospect as maybe Zyhir Hope. But I think in general, Sirota, and it's ironic I say that, because if there's anywhere where you can actually claim there might be an inkling of an opening in the Dodgers major league landscape, they just threw Pages in the outfield. If there's anyone out there, up there, playing Major League Baseball for the Los Angeles Dodgers right now, who maybe doesn't have a stranglehold on their position, albeit he made that catch in left center to essentially save their opportunity to go back-to-back, Pages didn't do as well as maybe we anticipated his first couple of runs at it. It would be out there. So I don't know how much the Dodgers are going to be clutching their jewels in someone like Sirota, but I think out of those 3, semantics-wise, we look through all the logistics, I think he's the most likely to go somewhere. And if I'm an opposing GM, I think I have a pretty good shot at striking a deal for someone like him, because I think Hope might be untouchable.
Yeah, I think I'll go with the clone, Quintero, the other clone of Sirota. Yeah, I think again what you mentioned that he brings to the table at the dish, with his ability to get on base, his growth with High A, you can't go wrong here. I think other teams, if there's a minor league swap involved, or if there's an opportunity for a team that needs some outfield depth, I think you look at Quintero kind of doing, you mentioned originally signed as a catcher. I think there's some versatility there. I know he's an outfielder, but if a team wants to maybe move him around left field, use that athletic ability. So, but if we're doing 2 out of the 4, I'm Quintero, and I'm going after De Paula. If I'm another team, those strikeout numbers really concern me with Hope.
I like it.
Let's go to our 5th and final of the top 5 here with the Dodgers. Emil Morales. He's a shortstop. A little change of pace from all the outfielders, and he's Major League Baseball's 92nd overall prospect. He's another very balanced prospect in this top 5. 50 grades at the hit, run, and field tools, 55 grade arm, and 60 grade power. So from a shortstop having 60 grade power, holy cow. He led the Arizona Complex League last year pre-promotion to Single A in hits with 70 and extra base hits with 25. And again, I'm going to split up the stats here with Emil Morales. He had 59 games at the Complex League with the Dodgers, 881 OPS with almost 500 slug for a shortstop. Wow. 70 hits, again, like we said. He had 13 doubles, 3 triples, 9 homers, 43 RBIs, 31 walks, but he did have 76 strikeouts in 59 games. The strikeouts are an issue, but it is a fixable one, okay? He is still very young. It is still very early in his professional career. You can fix the strikeouts at the plate. is 30 games at Single A Rancho Cucamonga. Again, now Single A Ontario. Rancho Cucamonga, for those interested in knowing, they are now the Single A affiliate for the Los Angeles Angels. They were the Angels affiliate in the early 2000s, all the way till about 2010. And then 2011, the Dodgers took over until this past year. So now Cucamonga is going back to the Angels. But anyways, I digress. Morales is 30 games there. He had a .339 batting average. I know people don't like batting average anymore. I still do. That goes to show that Morales can get the bat to the ball and get the ball in places that fielders are not. 420 on base, 548 slug for 968 OPS, 42 hits in 30 games there, 11 doubles, 5 homers, 17 walks, again, 33 strikeouts. But the bat is too talented to make this strikeout issue a major factor in promotions going forward. It's a very fixable issue. Projected debut is 2029. I'm also going to ride with 2029. He's 19 years old. By the time 2029 rolls around, Mookie Betts will be about 36, 37 years old, and Alex Freeland did fall behind Morales in prospect rankings this year. So Morales is on the up and up, and other than those two, both Andy Ibanez and Hyesung Kim are question marks long term. I do like Emil Morales being a guy that the Dodgers do try and hug and hold on to and keep him out of trade talks going forward. My diamond in the rough for the Dodgers, big left-handed pitcher Adam Serwinowski. He is their number 13 to end 2025. He was part of the 3-team trade with the Dodgers, the Reds, and oh, you guessed it, the Tampa Bay Rays back in 2025. He's got good size at 6'5". He's lanky. He's got a 60 grade fastball that can touch 101 and a 60 grade slider / sweeper. It's called a slider. It really is more like a sweeper. I still don't know the difference between the two. That's just what scouting reports say. He had one start at AA Tulsa last year where he only went 3 innings, gave up 6 hits, 5 runs, 3 of them earned with 2 walks and 4 Ks. But his combined high A numbers pre and post trade were pretty solid. He was a 5-7 win-loss record, 3.89 ERA through 108 2/3 innings with 91 hits allowed, 12 of them homers. Not crazy home run numbers for a starting pitcher, but it's still about middle of the road. 53 walks to, 136 strikeouts. This guy is a strikeout first baller. He had a 133 whip though, which is kind of high, but still doable. Projected debut is 2027. My projected debut for him, to be quite honest with you, I think he could be justified on the big league roster by the end of this year. I also think he could be debuting in 2029 because, again, the Dodgers throw money at everything, right? So Serwinowski has the size and he has the reach and the extension of other tall bigs in Major League Baseball, kind of like, I don't know, Jacob Mizorowski. I'm not saying he's like Mizorowski in any way, but the physicals do line up and he's got good extension. Like, he could, if he has a solid year at AA and he gets promoted to AAA and looks solid there, why not give him like 2 appearances in September? Because the Dodgers are known for resting their guys for the playoffs, right? Blake Snell barely pitches in baseball last year, ends up being the best pitcher on planet Earth come the playoffs, right? Tyler Glasnow the same way. Once those guys get injured, I could see a guy like Serwinowski catching a flyer, maybe even like a July flyer if there's enough guys getting hurt on that Dodgers roster. Quickly, strengths and weaknesses. Their strength, dare I suggest it's the outfield? Outside of their top 4 prospects entering 26, they also have outfielders James Tibbs III. Hey, there's that mention from earlier. Ching Sen Ko, Charles Davelin, Brendan Tunick, Kendall George, Jaron Elkins, and Zach Earhart all produced very well for this Dodgers system last year. If they could find a way to play 8 outfielders and a pitcher, I'm sure they would. But some of these guys are going to go produce for other teams in the future. They just have a lot of great outfielders in their system. Their one weakness I've found is at first base. It's tough to find a weakness in this system according to scouting reports, but the Dodgers have no first baseman in their top 30 list from 2025. This could change going into 2026 once we see the teams all release their new top 30s, but as it stands right now, they don't really have anyone at that first base side, but rest assured, if you're a Dodgers fan, you don't need to be worried about that. You still have Frederick Freeman over at first base, the best hitting first baseman in I don't even know how long. Sure, bona fide Hall of Famer. You have nothing to worry about right now at first base in the minors.
Good call on the pitching. I mentioned how the outfield isn't really solidified, but you look at guys like Glasnow and Snell, and they were just rested so much down the stretch. Even if you're treating it as a late season tryout for another big league ball club, when rubber hits the road and you might be in a deal and they're scouting for you, that's another opportunity over a 162 game season where maybe the Dodgers clinch early too, right? Start resting guys, and you might have an Adam Serwinowski going out there and throwing a few games.